Good morning. Thank you all for coming to the Lockport AM Toastmasters. I'm going to open the meeting. It's 7 a.m. Thank you for coming. Will everyone please stand for the pledge to the flag? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Are there any announcements that we need to hear before the meeting? Seeing none, I'm going to turn the meeting over to our Toastmaster, Joe Budnick.
Thank you, Darcy. So, movies from your childhood. When I was a kid, we did not have Netflix. We did not have YouTube. We did not have cable. At least I didn't. I don't know if cable was around then, but we sure as heck did not have it. So, I remember it was a rare treat for me to go to the theater and the drive-in. The drive-in was always a rare treat, and that was something I always look forward to. Of course, I think I was 8 years old when Star Wars first came out. When we first went to the drive-in, my parents and I, there was literally a mile of cars lined up all the way down the road to see this movie. We didn't get in. I was crushed. How was I going to face my friends come Monday morning? So the next day, that was Friday, and the next day night was Saturday. We got there 2 hours early before the movie started. We barely made it in. We just made it in, finally got to see it. And of course, I saw The Empire Strikes Back 2 at the drive-in. I think our jaws all dropped when we heard Darth Vader say, "Luke, I'm your father." I'm thinking to myself, yeah, boy, those family get-togethers during the holiday are really going to be awkward now from now on. Mm-hmm. And I remember also, too, when this was the summer of sci-fi, when Close Encounters of the Third Kind came out. It wasn't quite the hype that Star Wars was, but still, it pretty much was. And my neighbors were going to take me to see it because I was friends with their kids. And my mother talked to some woman at work who, her and her husband and another couple, really wanted to go see Close Encounters of the Third Kind. They really wanted to see it. And my mother said they thought it was absolutely stupid. They didn't like it. Okay. So the next time I was at my mother's office and I spoke to this lady, I don't remember who she was. I said, "So you went to see Close Encounters? You didn't like it?" "Oh my God, it was stupid. It was the most stupidest movie I ever saw in my life. It was 2 hours of my life that I'll never get back. I wish they'd given us a refund." And I'm thinking to myself, well, it's so far a box office bonanza. People are going to see it in droves, and it's getting rave reviews. Maybe they just don't like science fiction. So I went to see it that weekend, and well, it was adequate. I've seen better movies, I've seen worse. It was an visually extraordinary film. The special effects were absolutely amazing. If you were going to base it just on that merit alone, I'd give it a perfect 10. But I think they kind of neglected storyline, plot, dialogue. They put too much emphasis on special effects and not enough of an actual story in that movie. But it was still good. I enjoyed it. And of course, I saw a lot of Disney movies and at the drive-in. Bambi, Snow White, saw Pinocchio. I did not like Pinocchio, not one bit. Watching those poor kids in that movie get turned into donkeys and sold into slavery absolutely horrified me as a child. Oh well, they were smoking and drinking, but so still, I never smoked a day in my life and I don't drink. So maybe it did some good for me. Maybe it did some good for some generations of kids. And speaking of which, I remember, I think I was about maybe 10 or 11. Our neighbors, once again, I was friends with their kids and they used to take me with them to the drive-in a lot. We were going to go see some Disney movie, but they changed their mind. Instead, we went to see these two scary movies. One was called Grizzly, and the other was called Spawn of the Slithest. The first one was about a killer grizzly bear killing people in the woods, and the other one was about this mutant monster crawling from the ocean to basically eat people alive. How in God's name either one of these movies got by with a PG rating is beyond me, because Friday the 13th wasn't as gory as these two. So I told my mother that we went to see that, and my mother was about ready to go next door and do some of the things to our neighbors that were done to people in the movies, because she did not want me seeing movies like that at that age. She wasn't amused. She didn't say anything, but still, she was pretty upset about it. But I saw a lot of really good Disney movies. The Escape from Witch Mountain movies were really good. Those were amazing. And there was a movie called One of Our Dinosaurs is Missing. That was years and years ago. I saw that. I think I was about 6 or 7, and that was really funny. And The Cat from Outer Space. So those are movies from my childhood, and I fondly remember all of them, and remember going to the theater and going to the drive-in. Yes, we still have drive-ins, but I don't think people do them very often, because now like I said, we have Netflix, we have cable, we have YouTube, but still, there's nothing like going to a movie and seeing it in person. So let's have a toast to fond childhood memories. So without further ado, I'd like to call our job holders. Excuse me for a minute. Our word master for the day is Les Robinson. And Les, are you on speaker? Are you on there?
Yes, I am. Can everybody hear me?
We can hear you, sir. And here's your
Okay, are we ready?
We're ready.
The word of the day is TARDIS. I dug this out and I have this. And it's a very simple, it's time and relatively dimension in space. So if you can use the word TARDIS, because the TARDIS was a secret thing hidden in the TV show, so we can see if you can sneak in the word TARDIS today to movie themes.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Time and relative dimensions in space. Yes, it was used on Doctor Who. That was how Doctor Who traveled, through space. It was the size of a police box, but when you went inside, because of Time Lord engineering, it was huger on the inside than it was on the outside. Dang, I wanted one of those. Think of the closet space you could save. Yes, Doctor Who was an integral part of my childhood as well. So our inspiration today is Maggie Craig. And Maggie, do you have a bit of inspiration that you'd like to share?
I do. When I was a kid, one of my favorite movies was Pippi Longstockings. And I also grew up in the 60s, and my mother would drop us off on Saturday at the movie theater while she went to get her hair done. Boy, big hair, big hair. And the theater was filled with probably hundreds of kids. It felt like hundreds. And the only parent we had at the time was a teenager in an gray usher suit. And somehow we actually believed we had to listen to him, or at least my mother put the fear of God in us that we had to listen to him. There were no cell phones, no check-ins. The kids the kids in the movie, and the understanding that when the movie was over, we would find ourselves our way home. And when I was in the movie theater, one of my favorite movies was Pippi Longstockings. Pippi lived alone in a colorful house. She slept up with her feet on a pillow. She had a horse on the porch, and she didn't seem particularly concerned about how things were supposed to be done. At that time, I just thought she was funny, and now I think she was fearless. Pippi didn't control the world around her. Adults were confused, rules were arbitrary, life was unpredictable. But she had something steady inside her. She decided who she was, she decided how she would behave, and she trusted that she was enough. And as children, we loved her because she broke the rules. And as adults, We can admire her because she didn't let the world decide her character. And here is your inspiration. We don't get to choose the times we live in, but we do get to choose how we show up in them. And that feels very Pippi to me. Thank you, Toastmaster.
Thank you. Our master today is Mike Licata. Mike, would you like to tell us what you're going to do? Thank you.
Thank you, Joe. Good morning, fellow Toastmasters and our guests this morning. My job as the master is to count the ahs, ums, the pregnant pauses, along with some of the other crutch and filler words we use like so and to report back at the end of the meeting. Back to you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you, Mike. And our grammarian this morning is David Jones. David, would you like to tell us what you're going to do today?
Yes, Mr. Toastmaster. And to start, I would agree with you on Escape from Witch Mountain. Those were great movies. My favorite, of course, was Chitty Chitty Bang Bang by Disney. I thought there's so many great things in that movie, especially the little guy who would steal all the kids and put
He
them in the
gave me nightmares.
Yeah.
The
The
child
on
actor, yeah,
nose.
he was bad.
Yeah. But as grammarian, I will be listening to good uses of the English language and room for improvement, as well as some words. I already have a couple down. And as far as TARDIS goes, I never watched Doctor Who, but I know that TARDIS is a port in Syria, seaport in Syria. But I'm sure they're spelled different. Back to you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you.
Mhm.
And may we hear from our quote master, Margot Sue Bittner. Thank you, Margot.
Good morning, Mr. Toastmaster and fellow Toastmasters. Movies from the past. Now, I am not a Doctor Who fan, so I have unfamiliar with TARDIS other than seeing what it is, but I do have a couple quotes from some movies, and this will tell you exactly what era of movies I used to watch. It's never too old to be young, was said by Snow White. You're mad, bonkers, off your head, but I'll tell you a secret. All the best people are. That's from Alice in Wonderland. And finally, the very things that hold you down are actually going to lift you up. And that's from Dumbo, Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you. And our jester today is Mark Campos. Mark, would you like to tell us a funny story?
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and our guests. Good morning. Mr. Toastmaster, in an effort to help you out with some housekeeping, there is a little miscommunication on speaker 2. I don't think Marshall's prepared to give a speech, so you have 2 speakers. The news gets better. Your table topics master is not online yet either, so just something to take it. Well, this is a pretty easy theme to go with table topics. But anyway, fellow Toastmasters, when I think about movies from my childhood, it's been mentioned already. I was 9 when Star Wars came out. Similar experience to Joe. My father took me on the subway to Manhattan to go see the movie, and it was sold out. We couldn't get in to see it. Our experience was a little bit different in that the theater had some extra space, as I recall, and dozens of people hung out and waited for the next show, which is kind of amazing to think about today. But anyway, finding jokes about Star Wars is pretty easy. So here's some hopefully painless one-liners for you. Why did episodes 4, 5, and 6 come out before 1, 2, and 3? Because in charge of directing Yoda was. Get it? What do you call Chewbacca when he has chocolate stuck in his hair? A chocolate chip Wookiee. What do you call a potato that is turned to the dark side? Darth Tater. When did Anakin's Jedi Masters know he was leaning towards the dark side? In the 6th grade. And lastly, what was Yoda's advice for going to the bathroom? Doo-doo? or do not. There is no try, Mr. Toastmaster.
And our timer today is, I believe, Bridget Newton. Thank you, Bridget. Mhm.
Good morning, everybody. So as the timer, I'm trying to figure out how to put TARDIS in this with the time and the dimension. So I will try to keep it in this dimension when I do the timing for everybody. I will be using the green, yellow, and red, as most of you are familiar with. Icebreakers are 4 to 6 minutes. Speeches are 5 to 7. Evaluators will have 2 to 3 minutes. For the regards to movies, I actually preferred television, and The Twilight Zone was my favorite. And those were warp TARDIS times for sure. Thank you, Mr. Foster.
Yeah, some of those Twilight Zone episodes really creeped me out. They really did, but it was a good show. So our quiz master today is Jim. How do you say your name? Sacco? Sacco. Okay, thank you, Jim.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters and guests. I am the quiz master for today. And what I have to do is listen, okay? Listen to what speakers are saying and what they come up with. And they come up with questions to test everybody afterwards. That's a skill that I'm not necessarily good at, but it would be challenging. Favorite movies? I would have to say one of my favorites. I was about 15 years old when I went to the Summit Park Mall Cinema to see Jaws. And it's all the things I remember is when that shark comes out of the water, it feels like the seats went back about 5 feet. So, yeah. So, anyways, Mr. Toastmaster, thank you.
Okay, so Katie, take it away, my dear. Oh, I'm sorry. How could I forget you? Yes, our general evaluator is David Licata. Thank you, David. Appreciate it.
Before I go any further, I have some unsurprising news for you. Phil Russell has chimed in. He's going to do off the cuff speech for you. So we're back in action. Over 50 years ago, I was a student in London, England, and we had adopted a fellow in our neighborhood who was born in Wales, so he was quite familiar with British TV. And we turned on Doctor Who. And at that time, the production quality, I think the backgrounds were drawn with a crayon, and it had nothing like it is today. And we said, who's that? No, that's big with us. When we were kids, that was a huge show. And I took his word for it. There is a fella in Britain, an actor, and he can't retire because he believes he is Doctor Who, and he's in the hatch somewhere, the poor guy. He never got over having that part. The general evaluator's duties are to evaluate the Toastmaster of the day and the evaluators. And I want to welcome back Harry Carlson. And if Harry came in, Gene Campbell can't be far behind.
Thank you, David.
You're welcome.
Okay, Katie, now I think we're ready for you. Katie will be our table topics master. Thank you, Katie.
Thank you, Joe, and for the phone calls getting situated this week. I appreciate your organization and preparation. And welcome to our guests, and hello everyone in the space, Zoom, and here in the room. Because it sounds like we have Phil on as a second speaker, I won't do extra table topics. I was debating it. I will call on our members or guests to answer the question. Try to use the word of the day. Just say it if you have to. Thank you, Les, for bringing in the world of Doctor Who and the TARDIS. It's bigger on the inside. That's the most known quote about it. You've all seen the iconic TARDIS, I guess. TARDIS, police box, telephone box, etc. I'm going to ask first, let's have Carol. Are you able to join us today on Zoom? Use that word of the day. All right, use that word of the day and tell us. So, David Jones, when he mentioned Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, it reminded me of that. Oh, that was one of my favorite kids' movies. Frightening, nightmares. Did anything mentioned, Carol, did anything mentioned this morning trigger something for you? Or talk about whatever you wish, as usual. Thank you. Carol, use the word of the day.
Yes. Madam Table Topics Master and fellow Toastmasters and guests. When I think of a movie I saw as a child, a young person, I would imagine I was 10 or 11, was The House of Wax. And the phenomenal thing about that movie was it was in 3D. And it starred Vincent Price. So immediately you know that it is a bit creepy. And he played the owner of a wax museum who had been in an accident and was burned, and he was opening it back up, and they had someone outside with those little paddles with the ball attached, and it was 3D coming out into the audience. You could see those balls right coming out, and but I think the creepiest part of it with 3D was when he had kidnapped a young woman who he was going to do evil things with his wax to. She started slapping him in the face, and then you realize his face was wax, and Vincent Price's face fell right out into the audience. So that is my most memorable experience of a movie as a young person. Madam Table Topics Master.
Woo, that stands out, that's for sure. Woo, my goodness. How about if I call up Chris? I'm going to call on our guests because I briefed them beforehand and I know that they are prepared. And I'm going to call them in this order: Chris, then Zach, then Harry. And I'd like to ask you the same question, basically. Come on up, try to use the word of the day, but what is this conversation making you think of? Chris, up first. Chris with the amazing mustache. All right. The microphone is yours. Be right here if you have any questions.
Okay, great. Okay, I guess I'm speaking today. Thank you for having me, everybody. And I've been coming for the last few weeks. And I guess there's no time like now to step right into it and make it happen. This moment is like a moment of TARDIS for myself. As in, when I was younger, I didn't go to many movies. We saw a lot of stuff on television, and my neighbors next door, my cousin, they had the first VCR before my parents got one. So I'd go over to the farm and watch a lot of movies at their house. But Doctor Who, I used to watch that on PBS, when I was a kid, of our 5 channels that we got. And we finally got cable when I was a teenager, so we got a few more then. The movies, like I said, with the TARDIS, when you're younger, you see these things, you see Doctor Who, you think about what you want to do in your life, and you dream about, okay, like you watch Dukes of Hazzard, these guys jump a car. How do they do that? How do they do these fights? And my path in life, like I grew up here in Gasport, Lockport area. and I'm fortunate to have come back, but my route has been circuitous. It's taken me away from the area, traveled around the country. I made it to LA, and I have worked in some of these films and television shows as a stuntman. And when you're in that situation, you can't believe, wow, I'm standing here next to a major actor. Like I was like Tom Selleck would be right next to me. And you have moments in your life and you go, well, that's a great mustache. And my father had a mustache also when I was a kid. Since I moved back, his response was to people when they say, why do you have the mustache? Why do you grow a mustache? And his response was, because I can. And I didn't understand it until a few years ago when I thought, hey, I'll grow my mustache to match him. And then my friend said, you got to keep it. You got to keep it. So I've had it for about a year now. And because of that, I've gotten hired on a few jobs because of the character look. And it's interesting to be back here in town with all of you. And one day I could be on the set in a movie. The next day I'm shoveling snow. So thanks again. Well, thanks for having me.
Cutting you off. I don't want
That's
you to
okay.
not make time. Don't.
All right.
This one. There, perfect. That's yours.
Oh, thank you.
Perfect. I kind of cut him off. Not sure if he made time anyway, but that was pretty much an icebreaker within your table topics. We got to know you so well in just a little table topics. Zach, the bar is high. My goodness, Chris. Thank you very much. Chris, Zach, you can join me up here. And the same questions. What is this topic? You don't have to do an icebreaker. Definitely stop when the red light hits and go as long until at least the green light if you can. And try to use the word TARDIS or just say it. Otherwise, the floor is yours, Zach.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. It's a pleasure to be here. This is my second time coming to Toastmasters here in Lockport. And yes, just getting thrown right into it.
Teach you some lessons. Oh, yeah.
Better? Yeah. Perfect. Okay. So, initially getting started with public speaking, it's terrifying. I'm sure we've all had this experience. And for me, I wish there was a TARDIS that I could jump in to go to a different space-time setting instead of public speaking. Yet here we are. And so the movie that had the biggest impact on me in my youth was a hero's journey, much like Star Wars, but my generation was Lord of the Rings. And that was my kind of initial introduction into the hero's journey that kind of gave me this sense of there's something that we're all called to do. There's adventure out there. There's mystery. There's exploration to be had. And that just set that in me for the rest of my life. And I've always been kind of searching for what ways can I challenge myself to grow? What ways can I kind of seek adventure in new ways and just kind of navigate this life and make it an adventure. So thank you all for having me.
Your second hand. Either a fist bump or a shake, whichever. Thank you very much. Well done. Well done, Zach. I invited Harry to speak last since he probably in this room has reached the highest pinnacle of Toastmasters of anyone amongst us as being our past governor, et cetera, et cetera. He's retired Toastmaster, I think. I'm not sure. Once you're a Toastmaster, you're always a Toastmaster. Same question, sir. I don't think I have to tell you the parameters, but in the Zoom world, I know you've been in the room with us. The lights are here. Bridget is also doing the lights there. You know what to do. The floor is yours, sir. Just get out of the way, Kate.
Madam Topic Master, fellow Toastmasters and guests, and everybody out there in TARDIS time. Walking into the room, wasn't picking up? No. Oh, all I had to do was step a little closer. I think everybody in the room could hear me, and that's the most important ones. And people out there, you're out there. TARDIS. Movies. I can't actually say a favorite movie from my childhood. And why is that? Because I came from a very poor family where I never went to the movie theater. I know kids that did, but I never had that opportunity. We had television, but I didn't watch no stinking television. What do the kids do today? They're always in the house, on the pads, all that crap. Not me. I was out in the neighborhood, talking to people, walking around, riding my bicycle, playing with my friends. We were always had a ball game going or something out in Oppenheim Park. We were always busy and active doing things. So that's what I tell my grandchildren all the time. You need to get outside. In fact, there was a quote, you could call it, that my mother used to say all the time. And I say it to my grandchildren, and I even say it to my wife one time, and I'll say, I'm going to go outside and get the stink blown off me. That's what my mother used to tell us. You know, she was tired of the kids milling around the house, fighting and getting in trouble. So she'd say, why don't you kids go outside and get the stink blown off of you? So that's what I do. I till this day, I like to be outside, even though as an occupation, I pretty much worked inside all the time. But I love it outside. So this weather, I don't care to be outside too much. I'd sooner be inside. But in the summertime, when the weather breaks, I'm outside all the time, working on projects, working out in the yard. So it's been a great opportunity to come back here and visit and see some of my old friends here at AM Lockport Toastmasters, because as Kate said, once you're a Toastmaster, you will always be a Toastmaster. Madam Topic Master.
Welcome back, Harry. So glad you joined us today. May I get a word master report first from Les, and then Bridget come up on deck for a timers report. Les, how did the TARDIS do so far with table topics only?
It did very well. Chris used it, Zach used it, and Harry used it twice. Carol did not use it.
Oh, Carol, she was in the TARDIS. Come on up, Bridget. Thank you, Les.
Thank you.
So with regards to the time, we had 1 minute and then a 2-minute warning, and then the 15-second buffer on either side. Carol came in at 2 minutes, 12 seconds. Chris, 2 minutes, 32 seconds. Zach, 1 minute, 5 seconds. Woo, you saw the green and wrapped it up. And then Harry at 2 minutes, 4 seconds. So thank you very much, everybody, for that. Thank you.
So Chris gave us almost an icebreaker, so we went a little bit too long. Did that sound like, Bridget, we'll be strict on that? We'll be strict on that, I think. But it was very good to hear everything that you had to say. I didn't mean to bump you off. I think you would have got longer if I didn't. So we have to vote between Zach and Harry. Thank you, Carol and Chris, also for participating. And the floor back to you. Oh, yes, Harry. Waving I'm getting it from above, and I will listen. We will wave. Before you vote, hold the phones. You may vote for anyone, but Carol, I'm sorry you didn't use the word of the day, and I reminded you at the beginning. I almost reminded you at the end. Anyway, back to Joe, and thank you all for doing some table topics with us.
Thank you, Katie. I have been searching high and low for this darn movie that I saw when I was a kid. I don't remember how old I was, but I was really little, probably second or third grade, if that. I watched it on television with my mom one weekend. It took place in a convent. It was about a young girl. She was a novice nun, and she became really close to one of the other nuns, an older nun, and kind of thought of her as a mother figure because her own mother was a cold fish and didn't want her to become a nun. And the other nun kind of thought of her as a daughter, but you couldn't do that because you had to love all your sisters equally. So they really weren't supposed to be doing that. And in the course of the story, some Spanish girls came to the convent, and the older nun was giving them English lessons with a couple other nuns. And the younger girl was upset and hurt because she didn't see her anymore. It was a beautiful movie. Like I said, took place at a convent. I don't know what the heck the name of it is. I've searched high and low. It's not the Nun Story. It's not the Bells of St. Mary. So if anybody knows what the heck I'm talking about, I'd love to see that movie again. It's a beautiful film, and I don't know what it was. I think I was like 6 when I saw it, but I still remember it. But it was a good movie. So if anybody knows what I'm talking about, let me know. I'd appreciate it. So we'd like to get into our speaking part now. Our first speaker today is Samantha. Samantha, how do you say your last name? Is she here? Oh, okay. So Samantha, you will be our first speaker today, and your evaluator is Darcy Colby. So Darcy, would you like to come up and talk about Samantha's speech? Hey, Darcy.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. I get the pleasure of evaluating Samantha today. The purpose of Samantha's speech, well, first of all, she's working from the presentation mastery unit, and she's writing a speech with a purpose. The purpose of this project is to learn to review basic methods for writing a speech and to present a well-organized speech on any topic. It should be a defined purpose, well-organized, well-written, clearly focused, and well-executed. No pressure. The time is 5 to 7 minutes. And I did not get a title. My cat tail. Okay. So Samantha Giambattista, did I say that right? My cat tail. My cat tail, Samantha Giambattista.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters and guests. In my icebreaker speech, I had said I would tell the tale of my cats on another day, so today is that day. I never thought that I would own a cat. I grew up with dogs, got a dog of my own as an adult. Growing up, I always wished I could have a cat, but my dad was allergic. My parents did give it a valiant effort. Our neighbor at the time came over with their cat. We were going to see how it went. It took a matter of minutes for my dad to develop a hive, and the cat hissed at him, so it didn't work out. I never thought I'd have a cat. My husband was always adamantly against cats since I met him. But a few years ago, our neighbors decided to get a barn cat. So I thought, maybe we could get a barn cat too. My husband crushed that dream when he reminded me that our barn is not insulated. So a cat would be a catsicle for us. I kept jokingly asking him, though, if we could get a cat. My daughter started to ask him too. Eventually, we heard from a friend of a friend about 2 kittens that needed to be given homes. So I jokingly asked him again if we could get a cat. And that day he said, fine. Later, he told me he had a revelation that making his girls happy with a cat was more important than standing his ground on the cat. So I took the girl kitten and my sister took the boy kitten. So began my cat tale. 2 years ago, I surprised my daughter with a kitten on a Friday night after work. She was ecstatic, of course, and in typical 5-year-old fashion wanted to name the cat Rainbow or something silly like that. We agreed on Daisy. And Daisy has become a very tolerant cat. She didn't really have much choice in the matter, being manhandled by 2 children and coexisting with a 70-pound chocolate lab. She's really interactive with the kids. She will play catch with my son when she's on top of the cabinets. He'll throw a stuffed animal up. She catches it. She pops her head in during bath time. She really loves to snuggle with the dog and the man who didn't want a cat, specifically. Her favorite person to snuggle with is him. She also on a few occasions has gone running into my son's bedroom in the middle of the night when he cries, almost as if she's checking on him. The simple revelation about the cat has brought me and both kids a lot of joy. My tale took an unexpected turn last year. After my aunt passed away in December of 24, her animals needed to be rehomed. The dog was taken care of, but neither of her kids really wanted her cat, Black. My husband had promised my daughter we wouldn't let Black go to a stranger, though. So last May, we took her in. I imagine for Black, the 12-year-old cat, it was as if she was in a TARDIS being transported to a different dimension, coming to my house. While she had coexisted with pit bulls and various people throughout her 12 years, she never coexisted with kids and another cat. It did take her a while to acclimate. We even nicknamed her Black Attack due to the many attacks between her and Daisy. She was not very amused with the 2-year-old cat who just constantly wanted to play with her. Despite her sometimes ornery disposition, she's a pretty tolerant, friendly cat. Although she doesn't always appreciate the level of affection we like to give animals in my house, the hugs and being held, she's always nearby. When we're on the couch, she'll be under the coffee table right there. At night, she's next to somebody's pillow, sleeping usually. I've even seen her become playful these last few months. In conclusion, both of these cats have fit into our family well with their quirky personalities. I can speak for everyone when I say that it's very entertaining to watch the boxing matches that take place. A couple weeks ago, I got a video that was probably at least 2 minutes long of a standoff between the two cats where they kind of just stared at each other, started boxing, then they would stop and stare and start boxing again. And it's really funny to watch. You can hear them smacking at each other, but neither of them left for about 2 minutes. So in conclusion, I never thought I would have a cat, but now I have 2. Thank you.
So our next speaker, I don't have the paper in front of me, is Phil Russell, and Phil will be evaluated by Yang. Okay, if that's how you say her name. Okay, thank you, Yang. Can you say what?
Hi, Mr. Master, Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters and guests. I will be the evaluator for Speak 2, Phil. Marshall will not be able to serve today, and Phil will step in to deliver an impromptu speech. Title is Speaking to Inform. The path is innovative planning. Thank you.
Thank
Back
you.
to Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you very much. And Phil, are you there?
Let's see. I am here. Excuse me. Before I get started, I'm going to take a little swig of water. Mr. Timer, it's 5 to 7 minutes. The title is To Do Movies and TV. You don't get it. 25 cents. You're 5 years old. Palace Theater, 20 cartoons. Saturday morning, your mother wants you out of the house. You go with your older sister. You get the last seat of the house. Juju bees are flying. People are throwing milk dubs everywhere. Oh, man, you had a duck, but the 20 cartoons, they were great. The cheering that went on, oh, you got to imagine a palace, packed house with all maybe 5 to 8 year olds. It was crazy. And we had a ball. You didn't know any of them. You'd turn around when you got hit in the back of the head with a dub-dub or got a wet jujube in your face. It was crazy. So you just took them and threw them back. Everybody was getting whacked. It was a riot. Oh, no wonder your mother didn't want you at home. Oh, it was fun. Now, Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and our guests, I, being like Harry of that generation, when we weren't doing 20 cartoons on Saturday morning, we were outside. First thing you did was you got up and you were outside. If the sun was up, it was crazy. Then, oh, if it was snowing like this, sledding hills, snowball fights, oh, what a riot. What a riot. We had snow football games. We would do everything. Annie over. You named it. Johnny Ride a Pony. We called it Buck Buck. And then in the snow it was even crazier. And then you always wanted Bernie Dolan on your team because he was short and stocky. He was actually a really good athlete. He was a lot of fun to be around. Bernie was great. He lived not next door. That was Larry Wilson's house, right next to Hannigan's Field. I took out one of the windows one time. Well, that was Hannigan's store, but I think Sharky might have hit one out of Wilson's window. Maybe Larry might have even hit him because they were good baseball players. Not me. I wasn't that good. But the Sharkies, oh, we had a whole gang. Tommy Wilson's side yard, Tommy Seekins. Oh, the Seekinses. Their backyard was abutted to the Sharkies. And you couldn't imagine all the crazy things that used to go on there. Man, we would cut through yards. We knew every path. Then there was, of course, Larry Roberts, John Roberts, Bugsy, and Denny Keeler, the whole gang. We're outside. We're doing everything. Right next to Hannigan's store, pitching pennies, you name it, we did it. So we weren't in watching TV or going to the movies. Movies were not our big thing. But to go along with Joe, oh, piling into a station wagon and going to the drive-in movies. I still enjoy going to the movies. I'm driving. My wife and I try to get there at least once a year. They're a lot of fun. They really are. It really is. I'm glad you picked that topic today, Joe. This is a good one because it brings back some fond memories. Now, I had a pretty good sleep last night. Slept pretty well. I've been recovering. I'm still, now I can move my arms. Before I couldn't because they put this implant in there. And, you can't pull the wires out or you're going to mess everything up. But I had a good review of the tests just the other day. And that's good. I feel really good. I slept well. And now, what's really interesting, I had a good dream. I wanted to try this project in Pathways. Jackie was alive. We didn't fulfill it. It came back to me. I was talking with somebody else. I've invited him to Toastmasters. He's been to Toastmasters, but he's got obligations at 7 o'clock in the morning, like a lot of people do. But maybe someday he'll find out, especially if he gets in touch with Dave Licata. Dave is more persuasive than I am. TV program. Toastmasters. Getting on. We've got the people. Maggie Craig, Dave Licata, he's broadcasting. We've got people to run it. Mark, you can run it. The biggest thing is to need somebody to run the back room, to run that. And all you have to do is learn how to do it. And we can do it because the setup is there. I've talked to Judy Naylor. She programs the whole deal. She's amazing. She's great. And what we do is we'll set it up. We can interview Toastmasters. It doesn't have to be exclusively Toastmasters. How about Sunrise Optimist, Rotary Club, Lions Club, Dale Association. I'm going to go back and join. I've decided my mom and Betty Dale started that place, so I'm going to back and join. We could bring a lot of people on to interview. Now, it doesn't have to be me doing the show. I would volunteer to do it, but if somebody really wants to do it, we have people that can do this show, and we could advertise our Toastmasters every organization in Lockport. And we could have a fun time doing it. Most importantly, have it fun. I know Confer, he runs one and he has people on there, but we can focus ourselves because we'll do it locally. These local shows can be a lot of fun. Now we'll probably be on at 4 o'clock in the morning. Yes, but there are people that are up at 4 because they can't sleep and they love it. Plus, we probably can tape it during the day. You know, we're not going to tape it at 4 o'clock in the morning. 7 o'clock to get to a meeting is tough enough. Darcy, you're getting all the way from Spencerport. It's crazy. I've driven that route on 31 several times. It's a nice road, but in the winter, oh my goodness, I admire you for doing that. But if you want to, just let me know. I couldn't get into the pathways fast enough to help out Yang, but it's 5 to 7. I see we got a yellow light coming up, and this would be a project that we all can do together. And if you don't want to be on, you don't have to be. But if you'd like to try and get involved in it, it is a major project in pathways to finish it, level 5, and that's what I want to do. Should be fun. Just think about it. Just do a talk show. What you're doing is you have it set up. It's really nice. They have 2 seats. We could have. We've done it before with Toastmasters. We've had 4 people on, and we had. I remember Tom Moran was doing it. Myself. We had a table topic. We had a speech and an evaluator. It was great, Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you, Phil. Our next speaker is Nancy Ferry, and she will be evaluated by Beth Banks. Thank you.
A little bit lower. I love evaluating Nancy. Before I start, though, is there anyone in this room who has not seen Doctor Who? Okay, thank you, because I thought I was probably the only one. So TARDIS meant nothing to me. So I went online and I actually found the picture. I don't know if you can.
Phone booth.
Not a clue. But it then was an aha moment because I have a neighbor who has one of these in his yard. And it was like, okay, now I get it. Made no sense to me, but must be a Doctor Who fan. That's all I can say. He's around the corner. I don't see him anyway, but you know, when you're out in the country, around the corner's a little ways away. So I get to evaluate Nancy today. It's not a speech from a particular pathway, but it's on any topic. I think this is going to be very interesting. The title of the speech is I See You. The length is 5 to 7 minutes. Nancy Ferry, I see you.
And just a little higher for me, not too much, but a little bit. Romper, domper, stomper, do. Tell me, do. Who do I see? I see Joe and Beth and Darcy and Steve and Phil and Margot. Margot's up there. One day, I heard Nancy. I was homesick. And Miss Romper Room, whatever her name was, saw me in her magic mirror. I think I was 6 years old and I was in heaven because I had been seen from a TARDIS world or whatever, another dimension. This woman saw me through the TV. Fellow Toastmasters, Mr. Toastmaster, guests, how often Do we feel acknowledged, heard, recognized? We live in a high-tech world. We can reach anyone, anywhere, anytime. We can even reach outer space with communication. How do they talk to people in, I can't even comprehend it. Why then do we feel so isolated if we have so many connections? Amazon, thank you, Amazon. I don't have to go to the store. Something just I push some buttons and boom, it's on my doorstep in a couple of days. If I wanted to, I could get groceries anytime I want, delivered to my house. I don't choose to do that. Food deliveries, telehealth. It's a wonderful thing to have. However, I prefer to go to the doctor and talk to the doctor in person, not on Zoom. We have iPhones, we have computers, video games, social media, and we often drive alone in our cars. In a lot of ways, we have every way to connect, but we're isolated. Toastmasters, connection. Toastmasters is about connection. This is why I come to Toastmasters. I get to give a speech for 5 to 10 minutes with no interruptions. I have the floor all to myself. I'm a captive audience. You're stuck with me. In person and on Zoom, people from all over the world can join us. We know we are heard. We have tech people that make sure that we're heard and seen. We have grammarian that reminds us that they're listening very carefully, an evaluator, a quiz master, a word master to see if we say the word. It's worth getting up for. And I thank you for doing that this morning. Aside from Toastmasters, when do we feel seen and heard, recognized? And how do we do that? I always wear funky glasses so that I'm seen. It's one way maybe of getting attention to myself. People say, hey, what great glasses. I don't know you, but at least I can connect with you for a moment. Maybe t-shirts with sayings or signs. We can march with signs that tell our beliefs, our values. Clothing. What do you wear? Do you wear colorful things? Do you wear plain things? What do you wear? Your shoes. Your shoes can say a lot about you. Jewelry, maybe. Hairstyles, facial hair. Not mine, but maybe yours. Speaking well. Funky colored hair. Maybe the vehicle we drive. Think of ways that you feel noticed. It's said that Bushmen in Kalahari were known to have a common greeting. The first person would say, good day. I saw you from afar and I am starving to death. And the response is, good day. I was dead, but now that I have seen you, I am alive again. I have an invitation for you. During the season of reflection, as we are in the waning side of winter, not soon enough, but we're on that side of winter. I invite you to seek ways to connect with other people. People you know, strangers you don't know, maybe someone you haven't spoken with in a while. And speaking of strangers, what I did once, I walked into Tops and I saw different people that I saw in the aisles. I said, hey, how you doing? I haven't seen you in a long time. Oh, you look great. And good seeing you again. Who the heck was that? There was one guy and he said to his friend, do you know her? I said, no, I don't know her. So I just chuckled. I was like, okay, somebody. So now they can go home and think, well, I wonder if I knew that person. But if you don't, you don't. I said, hello. Help make someone else feel seen and recognized and heard. What are some of the ways that we can do that? Simple things. I love your hair. Thank you. How are you today? And then stay and listen. Don't say, how are you? Fine, and walk away. Talk in the grocery line. Connect with the cashier. Say their name. Say thank you. Reach out and invite people to Toastmasters. Thank you, fellow Toastmasters. Mostly for seeing and hearing me today. Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you to all our speakers. May I have a timer's report, please? Thank you, Bridget. Yeah.
Great. So all three of our speakers, I just went totally blank. I think I went on the TARDIS and I'm just gone. So, so Samantha, you were 5 minutes, 16 seconds. Phil, 2:17. Nancy at 6:24. So everybody did qualify. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Bridget. So we'd like to hear from our evaluators now. And our first evaluator is Darcy Colby. Thank you, Darcy.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. So, thank you, Samantha, for giving us a tale of your quest and your success in getting a cat or two. I thought you did a lot of great things in your speech. You excelled at a lot of things. I heard good humor. The cat sickle, I like that. I grew up on a farm and people used to drop off cats. There's a farm, they have milk. But fortunately we had a barn full of hay and straw so they could snuggle down in the straw and they never got cold. Their biggest challenge was not getting stepped on by the cows. But I like your humor. I heard good vocal variety, especially when you said, oh, fine. You know, the funniest things in life are the stuff that's actually true. I heard good vocal variety. I saw good gestures with your hands, with your eyes. I heard good use of the word TARDIS. I saw that you were very comfortable up here. I heard clear and you were loud enough. That's always nice not to have to struggle to hear. And then I did not hear a lot of filler words. Just one suggestion would be don't say in conclusion more than once. That was a little awkward. To challenge yourself, I would say even more vocal variety. Sometimes I feel like we're in a play up here and we have to be like actors in a play. Maybe not quite that, but it helps. Overall, you did very good for your second speech. I can't believe this is like your second speech. You're at a very high level to start with, so I can only imagine how much higher you're going to go as you continue in AM at Lockport Toastmasters. And as far as your goals, which is the whole point of the speech, did it have a defined purpose? Yes. Was it well organized? Your chronological timeline was built in. Was it well written? Very nice. Was it clearly focused? Yes, great. And was it well executed? You did an excellent job. Thank you. Mr. Toastmaster.
Our next evaluator is Yang, and she will be evaluating Phil. Thank you, Yang.
Hello, Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and guests. Phil gave a very engaging and lovely presentation today. He spoke clearly and confidently, and he used gesture and body movement in a way that really supported his message. His gestures looks natural and intentional, which helped highlight his key points and made the whole speech easier to follow. His pacing was comfortable with some nice pauses. He also used facial expression well, which added variety and kept things interesting. Overall, Phil did a great job. Action honestly had to look pretty closely because Phil delivered an impromptu speech and still handled it very well. One small thing I noticed was that he touched his nose a few times. It's a tiny detail, but reducing this little moment can make his delivery feel even more smoother and more polished. That said, Phil's strong presentation and expressive style kept the audience with him the whole time. He shared his ideas with clarity, confidence, and energy. I really enjoyed listening to his speech. Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. Back to you.
Thank you. And our last evaluator today is Beth Banks. Thank you, Beth.
Before I begin my evaluation, one of my favorite movies growing up was The Sound of Music. And then, ironically, the exchange sister that I had was from Austria. Wait. So, therefore, today, I decided to wear the set of Edelweiss that my father bought for my mother when they visited Monica. So this is Edelweiss. To evaluate Nancy, I loved that introduction. That was, you really hooked us, you got us, great gestures, very interesting. Your speech throughout was humorous, but also informational. We got information. I didn't know what the Bushmen's greeting was before today. We always learn something when we're Toastmasters. So that's a very interesting greeting that I was dead, but now I'm alive. It's really good. Some of your questions were so good, spot on for today. How many of us are feeling? Why do we feel isolated? I can't say I felt that growing up. I didn't feel isolated. I lived in a neighborhood. Yes, we were outside all the time. We were making forts. We were playing football. I didn't know girls weren't supposed to play tackle football till I got to junior high and there was a powder puff game and they said it's flag. I'm like, I don't get to tackle them. Now look at me. Should I have been tackling anyone? No. But those are all good questions. I have a set of bunnies at home that is speak no evil, hear no evil, see no evil. And I thought of that when you were talking, that we want to be seen, we want to be heard, recognized. I love the story about being in the grocery store and greeting people. Sometimes we just like to freak people out. Nancy and I are on the same wavelength there. One suggestion, and you didn't do it all the time, be careful we hang on to the lectern. A lot of us do that. Your gestures in the very beginning were great. Continue with that. That would be how I would challenge yourself. But overall, very appropriate speech for today. Do we want to be seen and heard? Yes. Thank you.
Thank you, Beth. So may I have a timer's report from our timer? Thank you, Bridget. Thank you.
Thank you again. All three qualified. Darcy was at 2:14. Yang qualified with the buffer as she was at 1 minute 40 seconds. So she qualified on the almost. And then Beth was at 2 minutes 39 seconds. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mhm.
I love The Sound of Music too. That was a wonderful movie and interesting story. Several years ago, me and some friends actually saw a live production of The Sound of Music at Shays, and Marie Osmond actually played the lead of Maria von Trapp. And just our luck, we actually got to meet her in person, Marie Osmond. They let us in through the back door because she was signing her signature dolls that she has. I got to meet her. I got my picture taken with her and everything. Super wonderful, nice lady. Really super, very personable. And it was really neat to actually meet, to say I met someone famous. So that was pretty cool. So I'd like to introduce our general evaluator now, David Licata. Thank you, David. If you're ready. Mm-hmm. Thank you, David.
We have a situation here. Lately, I've been pretty lackadaisical, been maybe too generous in evaluations, but gee whiz, folks, Harry's here, so I have to go because I want to remind you, Harry was tough, but he was always fair. And even though he was tough, when you were done getting evaluated by Harry, you couldn't wait to speak again. So in that spirit, we're going to do it that way. My first evaluator this morning is Darcy, and what we've got here with Darcy is a showgirl. We're talking sacred music, country music, pop music, and now public speaking. And she's not having any trouble rounding up that fourth wild horse and getting it in the stable. She's picking up the public speaking. Harry, she returned as well. She comes all the way from Spencerport. She was with us at Friendly's back in the day. So we're glad to have her evaluating. And she did a nice job. All right. She did not, it could have been a little bit tougher because there was no home for the speech. The speaker should have found the home lined up better with one of the pathway assignments. Then we have Yang. Now, did she question Phil today about Phil mentioning all his friends back in the North End? This is so crazy. I live in that neighborhood now because I remember the people that don't live there anymore because it was such a colorful place full of characters. And he's not exaggerating. And he went on and on about the old neighborhood. But the deal was we had to forgive Phil. He's been locked in the house since Christmas, and he's got cabin fever. So we're helping him with his cabin fever. He has already agreed to be the poster boy for cabin fever for winter 26-27. So that's another feather in Phil's cap. So that's what she was stuck with. It was really two speeches instead of one. Beth, you gave Nancy appropriate praise. And Nancy's fun to listen to. There's no denying it. And I'm going to go so far to say the real clever Nancy, when you start talking about your activity in TOPS, the audience identifies because we all got to go to TOPS. And I did the same thing. I was walking through Tops, the gentleman, hey, Dave, how are you? And I said, I'm great. How are you? Well, nice to see you again. Nice to see you again. And I walked away shaking my head. I got no idea who the guy was. It never stops. But anyways, but Beth, that was one of her better efforts, and she should have been able to hook it up to an assignment in one of the pathways. So just we need that extra step so you get some mileage out of this, that you're staying inside the parameters, says the guy that really has to fight to stay inside the parameters. The Toastmaster of the day. Well, he obviously did his preparation because this room was full and we didn't do bad on Zoom either. So got a nice full room and it's great to see people. We had guests, we had old returning former members. And you did a great job there. You got people in. You introduced the job holders, Joe, with just one little mistake about the general evaluator, and naturally I'll forgive that. But I want to salute Joe on his style. Joe has this amazing style where he's not addressing a room full of Toastmasters. He's talking over the white picket fence to his neighbors, and never lose that, Joe. That's really nice. I'm going to invite Joe back up to call on the job holders because I have the lecture and I have that power. Joe Budnick, you're welcome.
So may we hear from our quizmaster today, Jim Sacco, if that's how you say your name. Is it Sacco or Sacco? Okay.
Either way. If you're from New York City, you would say Sacco. That's okay. Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. Wow, it was a great meeting today. A lot of topics. We talked about all of our favorite movies and what have you. And listening. Yes, I think we were all listening. I was listening. Wasn't looking at my phone, which is a good thing. But I have a number of questions here, if I could ask them. Now, our Toastmaster today, he had talked about what was his favorite movie that he saw at the drive-in. Star Wars. How many times do you have to go to the drive-in to see it? Twice. Very good. Thank you. Let's see. Maggie, what was her favorite movie? All right. Very good. And Chris, what movie did Chris see on PBS? Doctor Who? Yeah. Okay. And, oh, I love this. All right. What was the name? I have the lecture here. What was the name of Samantha's first cat? Daisy. Very good. And the last one, what TV show host was mentioned by Nancy's? You mentioned Nancy's name on TV. Very good. Yes.
Folks, she never said that. I got to hear that every week.
Yeah.
My wife.
Okay. All right. She didn't say Jim either. So, all right. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster.
And let's see, our next one would be our master. May we hear from Michael Licata. Thank you, Mike.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. Many strong speakers this morning, but I did hear some poor uses of the English language. Bridget had one, Carol had 3, she had 2 so's and a few ands. Chris had more than 4. Zach had 4 ahs, a couple of so's, and a few ands. Samantha had more than 5 so's. She uses a connector and she had an and. Nancy had 1 ah, and then I kind of stopped listening but I do encourage everyone, because we do put everything on YouTube, that we can go back and watch and watch our speeches. And with that, that is my report, Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you, Mike. And may we hear from our grammarian, David Jones, today. Thank you, David.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. Have a couple items, starting with Darcy. And it's one of my pet peeves. It's not just Darcy, it's pretty much everybody. But she indicated she was going to turn the meeting over to the president at the beginning, and we turn over pancakes. We relinquish control of the lectern to our next speaker. Let me see. Well, Harry had a great little quote. His mom said, "Go outside and get the stink blown off you." And I had to look it up. And evidently that's a thing. It comes from the Appalachian region in the Midwest and the Appalachian Mountains. It's a literal thing to get the stink off of them. But in the Midwest, it means go outside and get out of a bad mood, get out and get fresh air and just change your attitude. So I thought that was a great saying. Samantha, Darcy also mentioned the cat sickle. I thought that was a great visual. It reminded me of my cousin who used to call them frisbee cats. Those would be the cats in the street that were run over and flat, and you could just pick them up and throw them. And she also said valiant effort. I thought that was a great little quote for her husband trying to enjoy the cats. And Philisms, he always has wonderful words that we don't hear elsewhere, but he was talking about the wet jujubes to the face. That was just such a great visual when we're all younger as kids throwing candy. And then he also mentioned two wonderful words, Tom Morant and Jackie, and those just bring in emotions. So thank you for that. And Nancy said, with regarding technology, we have every way to connect, but we're isolated. And that is the joy of Toastmasters, especially for me, who has a meeting once or twice a day. So I'm never alone or isolated, but that is a truth that we have everything we need to communicate. And we just, now we don't even answer the phones. And with that, I will relinquish control to the Toastmaster. Thank you.
Thank you. My mother was notorious for saying that to me. Go out and get the stink blown off. I think it's a generational thing. The first time she said it, I'm like, excuse me, I took a bath this morning. What are you talking about? I began to realize that it was just an expression, so I just tuned it right out after a while. Yeah. So without further ado, I would like to get to our winners for today. Our best table topic, he's not here, but was Zach. Congratulations to Zach. Our best evaluator today is Yang. Congratulations, Yang. And our winner, our best speaker today, I don't think she's here either. Samantha. Congratulations, Samantha. So would someone like to? Okay, sounds good. As you can see, I'm not biased. Yeah. Alrighty. 3783161. Yeah, 161. Oh, fantastic. Congratulations, Margot. So I can put these ribbons away because unfortunately none of our winners are here right now, but okay. But we have some announcements to make. We have an officers meeting this Tuesday, next week, Tuesday, the 23rd, at 6 p.m. at Maggie's house. And Marty is the Toastmaster of the day next week. So let it to be determined theme. I know the feeling. So is
Can't hear. Yes.
With that, I will invite Darcy over. And then she can end the meeting.
Thank you, Darcy.
Thank you, Mike. I thought I was going to do presentations and draw, but Nelson said you did that all. So there's only one thing left to do. First of all, say thank you for coming, everyone here and on Zoom, and very good.